Okay, my turn.
I am the Hulk. I am abomination.
Oh, I'm the Hulk. I'm so sad. I don't know how to defend myself. My clothes.
Let me just start. Wait, hold up. This is my opinion, alright? I'm biased. I grew up with this film, alright? This is my show. If you don't like it, you can get fucked. I do what I want. I'm not going to conform to the social norm of this movie is just okay. I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel and what I think about this movie. Before we leap to Hulk, Iron Man's considered one of the best MCU films ever. It follows this flawed protagonist who ultimately just wants to better himself with the help of his girlfriend, and in doing so creates a villain that's a mirrored image of himself. So today we're talking about The Incredible Hulk, which follows a flawed protagonist that just wants to make himself better, but with the help of his girlfriend, and in ultimately doing so creates a villain that's a mirrored image of himself. But this movie is considered the black sheep of the MCU. It's considered the ugly stepchild so badly that it's not even on Disney+. Maybe that's a publishing issue with Universal, I don't know, but Disney has enough fucking coin that if they wanted to slate it out properly, they could just have it on there. It's set on Disney+ that you've got all of Phase 1, Phase 2 and Phase 3. Here's the production order to watch them in. And they even take pride enough to go, here's the chronological order, starting with Captain America, the First Avenger. But they don't care enough to have the Incredible Hulk on there. So if you take a second with me and think about it, this movie came out 2 months after Iron Man. So really, it had no prior knowledge of the MCU. It had nothing to base itself off of. By the time that Iron Man came out, it would have been finished editing and straight into marketing. So this film is as much of the start of the MCU as Iron Man is. And this does a better job having a cohesive story with the MCU overall than Iron Man did. I'll get to that later, but this movie is such a unique mashup compared to everything else in the series. It's this fast-paced, fugitive monster movie. It's connected to the other Marvel movies in a meaningful and story-driven way. But at the same time, it's also completely its own thing. It's completely self-contained. This movie blitzes through the origin story in under 3 fucking minutes. It skips past that origin story that's fairly simple and goes straight to the action. It's got a cutthroat pace and I fucking love it. It's not a time waster. It's actually the shortest running MCU movie on record, sitting under 2 hours. The Incredible Hulk may not be the best MCU movie there is, but it is a great one by a long shot. And it is easily the most underrated in the entire series. This movie does not get talked about. This movie does what people have asked for in superhero films for a long fucking time, and no one acknowledged it and no one praised it for doing so. It skips the origin story. Only recently Spider-Man Homecoming was praised because it didn't do the origin story and just skipped over it because we knew it already. Well, we had Ang Lee's Hulk film and this one was smart enough to do it 12 fucking years ago. So The Incredible Hulk skims that first 3 minutes. You know, we get everything we need. Bruce Banner was a scientist. Experiment gone wrong. Now he's a monster, and then the rest of the opening credits set up this global manhunt. While the score just, oh fuck, we'll get to the score. This also listened to the reception that Ang Lee's Hulk film had. After Ang Lee put people to sleep because it was just this pairing that shouldn't have happened. You know, the Crouching Tiger, and you want him to take on a comic book film and he knows jack shit about it. Great director, just wrong everything, wrong mix of everything and all the wrong elements. So after Ang Lee's movie put people to sleep, these guys learned. They listened. They knew exactly what a Hulk movie needed. Lots of fucking action. The Hulk kicks ass in this movie. He knocks around military equipment. He destroys buildings. He takes on the Abomination. But he's also a representation of Bruce's repressed emotions. And those emotions aren't just limited to fury, because when he comes face to face with Betty, we see that he's clearly capable of tenderness, protectiveness, and even a childlike fear of thunder and lightning. It's a sensitivity that both Bruce and Ross view as a weakness for completely different reasons. Bruce is afraid of his own destructive power, but Ross is in awe of it, you know? He wants a version of the Hulk that doesn't suffer from Bruce's crippled psyche and Banner's emotional fragility. So it makes sense that the other film's villain, Emil Blonsky, represents Ross's vision if it was taken to the extreme. One of the most popular lines in all of the MCU comes in the Avengers when Bruce says, "I'm always angry," and shows that he can control the Hulk at will and bring him out. In retrospect, it's odd that this scene ever came across like it was this revelation, because it was the entire point of the Incredible Hulk. Over the course of the film, Bruce Banner tries to cure himself, only to accept at the end of the film that his anger has utility. His anger can be controlled and directed, and used to save the world instead of destroy it. The movie literally ends with Bruce Banner transforming into the Hulk on purpose and smiling at the camera. It's a complete story, but the character's transformation, it sets up heaps of stuff that could be told in future movies. Can I talk about this movie's tone real quick? Because I reckon they fucking smashed it out of the park. When it needed to be dark and focus on the tragedy of the hero, it was. When it needed to be intense for action sequences, it was. And it added that healthy amount of humour that Iron Man had to keep it not feeling too gloomy. Now, a con I have heard with this film is that the plot's fairly simple. Well, some of the greatest films of all time have simple plots. There's a shark stalking Amity Island. Jack Torrance has to look after the Overlook Hotel. Banner is in search of a cure. And here, yes, the plot is relatively simple, but it gives us time to explore these characters deeper and spend more time with them. I don't understand the whole argument that the acting in this film is just okay. We have some of the most brilliant dialogue and brilliant delivery about the Hulk ever, period. You know, there's a line where Banner is expressing the feeling of changing into the Hulk and what that's like, you know, and that's just so interesting to me. We get all the fan service that pays tribute to everything that has come before it. We got Stan Lee. We got Bill Bixby. We got Lou Ferrigno. We got the Lonely Man theme. We got the green eyes from the TV show. The cover of the 2003 Hulk film. We've got the thunderclap. We've got Hulk smash. We've got him ripping apart a car and using them as boxing gloves like an ultimate destruction. It's all here. Could it be any more faithful and full of good fan service that doesn't detract from the film? Edward Norton as Bruce Banner? If I was making a Hulk movie and I had unlimited money, I couldn't cast better myself. I love the real small skinny guy turns into the massive monster. This is the first film as a child that I remember, because as a child, I don't know if it was fucking like some sort of ADHD or some shit, but I couldn't watch people talking. I had to skip to Spider-Man punching somebody. And with this film, you'd skip to the Hulk smashing something, and then I'd forget to skip it. Edward Norton's the first actor that ever just captured my attention, and I just kept watching. It was just, they smashed this out of the park, because it wasn't only that they made a great Hulk with the action, they made a great Bruce Banner too, because they made it just as interesting to watch him try to find a cure and to search for a cure as it was to watch Hulk smash through a car or throw something. I love Liv Tyler as Betty Ross here. She looks like she was ripped straight from the comics. Their relationship feels real, you know, with these grand characters. It feels real and tangible. It's not, oh, I'm in love with MJ now just because my mentor died. Again, this film does another thing that people have asked for a long ass time. It did it and no one gave a shit or acknowledged it. It didn't have a damsel in distress. Betty Ross is a strong fucking character that's not one-dimensional and has a lot to do in the film other than just be there. And General Ross, fucking, again, ripped straight from the fucking comic books. He's got layers. There's lines he won't cross. He's not fucking insane. But he's obsessed with trying to stop this because it's his problem, to cover his guilt. And that just adds so much more dimension and character to General Ross other than I'm just the general and I'm gonna get the Hulk. The Hulk himself? Okay, look, technology permitting, the face couldn't be perfect and the body's aged a tiny bit, but this is my favorite Hulk design by far. I love the hair. I love the blue shorts like in the jeans. I love the muted green colour that's kind of more realistic, you know, Ang Lee's it's just so bright and then Hulk in the MCU is much brighter. I like the muted green. Zero fat, 100% fucking muscle. In this movie, he's fucking scary. If you saw this motherfucker, you would run. You wouldn't want him to dab and take a selfie with you. I love just the fucking rage that this Hulk has. Hulk is angry. This is suppressed rage, just unleashing and exploding. And I feel like it's just, that's been so lost in the MCU, and it fucks me off, okay? Preface this right now, Hulk is my favorite Avenger, okay? Something about the Jekyll and Hyde aspect of a character has always just interested me, and I love the global manhunt aspect of this film. Now, I want to take a moment to talk about Tim Roth. This, unlike Iron Man, this is a villain I can buy into, losing his fucking mind. This is an aging soldier that didn't want to go up the ranks and stayed ground level because he's a fighter and he loves that, and he needs an outlet for his violent behavior, who finally sees an opponent that's unmatched. He looks like every task he's ever been given, he's smashed it and he needs a challenge, and now he's seen something, one, that is a proper challenge, and two, is godlike. And I love the way that they treat it like that it's godlike, that it's this uber-human, muscular Hercules, not this monster. So, like a soldier, this isn't a job, this is a lifestyle. It's not you in Brazil and then you get to go home to your wife or whatever. He's here and this is what he does. It's all he does, it's all he's thinking about. He's going to bed every night, thinking about that shit. And that his opponent that he's got, that's finally challenging, is cheating because he's been exposed to that gamma radiation. All you'd be thinking about is that if you had that physical boost, or that little edge to even get you close, you could fucking take him. So he's getting altered versions of the Captain America Super Soldier Serum. Bam! More MCU shit than what Iron Man did already. Progressively fucking him up and bringing his bones to the surface. The subtle scenes where, within just Tim Roth's acting, you can see his lip quivering at just the anticipation of another boost or a shoot up from fucking Ross. And by the time Blonsky gets to that point, he's not after Banner. He's not doing his job. He wants to take on the Hulk one-on-one. And you can see it when he goes to take Bruce that he's smacking him, that he wants the actual target. You can see him as the Abomination expressing joy and that he's finally got this fucking chance to brawl him on even terms. Can we just stop to talk about the Abomination's design for 1 second? I fucking love this, okay? People reinvent and redesign characters all the time, but to go from another scaly green dude with fish ears to this, holy fucking shit! I love the exposed bones, I love the golden colour, but it's just covered in an oily dirt, it's all real gritty. I fucking love it. And I love the viciousness. He's not like Loki or Ultron who sit there and crack quips. This guy is fucking terrifying. People talk about bad MCU villains. This is what a villain should be, as well developed as the protagonist throughout the whole film. It raises the stakes so much in the climax and makes it just so much more for me than two hulky guys fighting or just watching a CGI fight. I see Blonsky in the Abomination from the subtle way that he moves and he steps, to the way that Hulk will pivot his foot instead of stepping. There's so much subtle shit. The more you watch this movie, the more care you see that they've put into it every fucking time. Even before being transformed into the Abomination, Tim Roth is an intimidating fucking villain. Once he gets a taste for his power, his descent into madness becomes one of the more fascinating and interesting parts of this film. And when he finally gets Banner's blood and becomes the Abomination, he's easily one of the best parts of the movie. Now, I wanted to make a big point about this because I don't hear anyone else talk about it enough. This movie's score, I would argue it is one of, if not the best in all of the MCU. That fucking good. I work out to this shit. It's as good as the Dark Knight trilogy done by Hans Zimmer. It's this metalsmith smashing this fucking steel before it rolls into this adrenaline-filled global manhunt. Every single time I watch this movie, the score gives me goosebumps. At the scene at the university, when everyone sees Hulk for the first time in the light and the zooms, music is just fucking awesome in this movie, flat out, the whole thing. I love all the music in Favela, everywhere, the climax. Craig Armstrong, fucking praise you, man. Okay, I fucking heard it. I listened to that shit. It's fucking great. There's not many movies that can give me chills just from the opening credits alone, and this movie does it with his music. The action sequences in this film, they didn't just go, oh, let's put in some more action this time around. They're fucking brilliant. They're thrilling. They're brutal. They're vicious. They feel tough, they feel brooding, they get my heart going. Just Hulk grabbing Abomination by the throat has this just amount of bass that punches through, as well as a bit of a camera shake in between the punches, because it's got this weight to it. Everything should. You shouldn't be numbed to it so quickly. It's so nice to viscerally feel for the first time what it would be like if Hulk really punched someone, or if he really kicked someone as hard as he fucking wanted to. And when we hit the climax with the chain and the score's hitting its peak, it's just so much fucking fun. Now, I was going to talk about how this movie connects to the Marvel Universe much better than Iron Man did. It's got all this shit with Captain America and this altered super soldier serum. And back in 2008, when Iron Man came out, it wasn't common to sit around all the way through the credits to see the bonus little teaser with Nick Fury at the end. Nobody fucking saw it. But in this film, before the credits play, Robert Downey Jr. shows up and he talks about building a team. This film is the one that got people serious about an Avengers movie. This is the first superhero film to have another major superhero crossover just for a cameo. This movie really got the ball rolling with audiences, and this movie's flat out ignored. Before I go on to finish grading the film, there's one more thing I wanted to talk about. I'm sure I'm forgetting lots, and I will talk about this movie again at some point. But the reason Norton doesn't go on in the rest of these films is because supposedly he's a really hard actor to work with. And I know that it's something that he wasn't hesitant to do, but whenever he comes on board a film, he takes over. He's got his own vision for how things want to go. And when it came to the Avengers, they wanted a team player, someone that's going to sit there and just read their fucking lines. But Norton apparently rewrote the whole script. They shot everything Norton did, and they shot everything that they originally planned to do. And then on the editing floor, they cut out most of Norton's stuff. But they did put in the alternate opening scene on DVDs, Blu-rays, 4Ks, whatever, which ended up getting ported to the video game as well, and it's referenced in the Avengers. Back then, when the first Avengers came out, they didn't just forget about this movie. They fucking made a point about it, and they referenced it a lot. But Norton's cut, holy shit, I wish. If I could wish for anything, I don't want a Snyder cut, I want a Norton cut. Because Norton's cut, the opening sequence is just him being driven out into the middle of the Arctic by a truck. He walks out, he's climbing all these snowy mountains, he's getting away from everybody. He gets a gun and he puts it in his mouth and tries to blow his fucking brains out. Holy fuck. That is so heavy, and it's something that if you really were the Hulk and to deal with this would be so fucking real. And then at the same time, you've got to think if this doesn't work, that you're going to turn into the Hulk, so you had to be out there anyway. And in this alternate scene, when all the ice is getting destroyed, he fails to kill himself, turns into the Hulk, obviously, destroys the ice around him in the glaciers. If you pause it, you can see Captain America and his shield frozen in the ice. Another fucking MCU fucking tie-in before Captain America came out. But Norton's cut, I can't imagine how much more serious or what he really wanted to pull off or prove or tell exactly, because I can tell that 90% of what Norton wanted to do was gone here. This is just the Marvel film, and there's just all these little scenes that you can tell that Norton's gone, hey, we should really do this, this would be really cool, and Louis gone, yeah, no, fuck yeah, that'll be cool. Let's add that in. I like that idea of this is what it's like when Bruce turns into the Hulk, what the feeling's like. Give us the Norton cut, please. To sum it up, The Incredible Hulk is fucking great. Leterrier cut his teeth on films like The Transporter, and he applies that action here in imaginative set pieces that just get to really show the Hulk's destructive capability. It's built like a fast-paced action movie, and it's a smart revision of the original hit TV series that just amplifies, because in the TV series, an episode he'd be in a town, by the end turn into the Hulk, destroy anything he had there with people, and end up just walking to the next town. Well, they just expanded, and now it's, instead of towns, it's a global manhunt. I was originally going to give this movie an 8, and then I asked myself, how could this movie be any better? What could it have possibly have done to get those extra 2 points to go up to the top? And not fucking much. It's pretty fucking perfect, and I think it's the best Hulk film we're ever going to get, or at least for a long fucking time yet. The music is perfect, the actors are perfect, the look is perfect, the feel is perfect, the tone is perfect, and the humor is perfect. It hits everything that I could ever possibly want with a Hulk movie. It's both brooding and a ton of fun at the same time. So, I'm going to give The Incredible Hulk a 9 out of 10, with Blake's seal of approval, because this movie gives me fucking goosebumps! If If you like what you're seeing, consider subscribing because I have a lot more MCU movies to talk about and a lot more Hulk to talk about and how they literally crippled this fucking character. So that's what I think of this movie, and if you disagree, that's fine. I'm biased. I've watched this movie 300 fucking times. But I really fucking like it. I just have fun every time I fucking watch it. And I've probably watched it more than any other MCU movie that I have. I think this movie is going to be a lot like the Star Wars prequels. How they're starting to make a comeback that with the more Disney-ified films that we're going to get along the line, that this is going to be looked back on as a gem. A big thank you to everyone that sat through to the end of hearing me rant about this movie with a giant green guy in it. Okay, you guys mean the fucking world to me. And I will hopefully see you next time when I talk about Iron Man 2, which I'm actually quite pumped to revisit. And if for whatever reason I get bogged down with life and Iron Man 2 doesn't come out for a while, have a good Christmas. Hopefully I can see you later.